I'm talking about the movie Vision Quest. Now, some of you maybe remember it, maybe you don't. So one of the people out, one of the interns out there, tweets out to Matthew Modine. He is the main character in that movie. Plus, Bye Bye Love. Love that. And who calls in? Matthew Modine himself. Matthew, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. Always a pleasure.
Like, we go back years and years, right?
That's right, all the way back to the 80s.
Now, I know you just out of the blue, Twitter's got to be one of the greatest things on the planet to reach out to someone like you. You're just sitting around playing with your kids, and you're like, sure, I'll call in.
Why not? My wife made an interesting observation because she doesn't do any of the social networking. Mm-hmm. She felt that there'd be a lot of people, like, for instance, John Lennon, that might still be alive had there been Twitter, because it gives people the opportunity to have contact with people and speak to people and maybe not do horrible things like shoot people.
Yeah, there'd be that. Plus, there'd be people hanging out and taking pictures and everything, and they would have caught everybody early on from, but that's just the 80s. Sometimes I don't want to remember the 80s.
Yeah. I think it's just a wonderful, easy way to communicate with people in a fun way, and Facebook's too complicated, but 140 characters, I mean, either somebody says they love your work or they hate you, and I mean, because opinions are like belly buttons, everybody has one, but it's just kind of a wonderful, fun, democratic way of communicating with people.
Right, and Facebook are just whiners and complainers anyway.
Yeah, I'm not. I have a Facebook page, but I much prefer Twitter because of random things like one of your followers tweeting out that you're talking about Vision Quest, and now I'm on the telephone with you.
See, I love that movie. First of all, it was Loudon, right? That was the character's name.
Yeah, Loudon Swain.
Right, Loudon Swain. All right, so I'm flashing back to the 1 year I wrestled and got my ass kicked. Okay, and that's what triggered all of this.
It's the hardest sport I ever did in my life.
And you were in those plastic sweats or whatever, and that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, the rubber jogging suit.
One of the worst thing ever. Now, how much did you have to get into shape for that role? Now, be honest. Don't be lying.
No, I'll tell you the truth. I had moved to New York to study acting. I was broke, a struggling actor, and I weighed maybe $168. I'm 6'3". I was really, really skinny. And when I met the director, Harold Becker, who had made Taps and, really wonderful director, he said, I think you're a terrific actor, but he said, can you do 10 push-ups? And I said, what are you talking about? Can I do 10? I can do 11. And he said, if you're going to do this picture, you're going to have to go to Spokane, Washington, and you're going to have to really train. You're going to have to get in shape because this guy is a state champion. And I said, of course, absolutely. And I traveled to Spokane, Washington. It was 3 a days for a couple months while we were training to get in shape for the film. So lifting weights, running, and wrestling practice.
Nah, I hated that because. Myself, my first year wrestling, not that it's some stupid thing. Now, they threw me as a freshman because I was kind of big. I, too, am 6'3", and I went in as a freshman at 6'3". So they're putting me up against guys who are 40 pounds heavier than I am. I got my ass whooped because these were little guys I had to wrestle against.
Yeah.
It just wasn't fair.
They're the most difficult guys I think there are to wrestle, the little fire plugs. Because they're compact and strong and I don't know if you ever noticed it, but most of the bodybuilders, the weightlifters are not 6 foot. That's where Arnold Schwarzenegger was so successful. Mm-hmm. He was a big dude, and he was a big dude and he had a lot of muscle.
Now, I couldn't remember the female lead's name. I was just sitting here kind of playing around with it. Although that, can I say this? She was freaking hot. Okay.
Yeah, her name's Linda Fiorentino. She's a very sweet girl. She's from New Jersey, and she still lives in the city. She's a nice girl.
You still have any contact with her?
Actually, on Twitter.
Oh, see, that's now very, very cool. You guys need to have like a Vision Quest 2, a sequel of some sort.